Apple is manipulating you. And if you're wearing AirPods, then you've got a lot more to think about when it comes to your health and the health of your hearing and more. I'm Rosemarie Havsom. I'm back again to help you take full control of your life by what you choose to put at the end of your fork. So let's get into it. So yes, I'm wearing wired headphones, and for a reason. Well, some people want to say that it's an old-fashioned way of doing it, but have you noticed athletes are now showing up with wired headphones? What is going on about that? Well, there's a lot, because there's been a lot of discussion about whether or not AirPods are actually healthy for you.
Wireless headphones and earbuds are becoming more popular.
But could using them be putting you at greater risk of cancer? Here's health editor Dr. Maria Simbra.
Some people like wireless headphones for the convenience and freedom from cords. But is radiation a worry?
At times, yes. Just that it might cause cancer and lead towards that.
I think my biggest worry is the level of the sound.
I think the technology's evolved a lot, and I think there have been a lot of studies that have shown that technology is safe.
You can get it from anywhere just by being around people with a phone.
A biochemist from the University of has raised the alarm. In an article on the website Medium, he says Bluetooth headphones in the ear canal exposes tissues in the head to high levels of radio frequency radiation. He says hundreds of researchers from around the world have petitioned the World Health Organization about the issue.
In general, the closer you are to a structure, the more radiation.
In the same article, a bioengineer from the University of Pennsylvania points out the WHO and other public health organizations have analyzed the literature on Bluetooth and haven't found evidence for health hazards at exposure levels below international limits.
The Bluetooth is all around us, from pacemakers to non-medical applications. Our televisions rely on that.
Bluetooth is very low energy. It is not ionizing radiation, the type that causes damage.
So if we could eliminate all risk from the world, we certainly wouldn't start with these devices, because they would be one of the lowest risk things.
There's a couple of things that you need to know. And one of them is that if you have something that is against your ears, you're going to be listening to things at a pretty high volume, more than likely than you would if you were listening to it without headphones of any sort. Now, the problem with that is that you are blasting so much volume into your ears that your ears are going to decline with how well that you can hear over time. This can happen quite quickly in some cases, and in other cases, it's a slow process.
Why do people still wear wired earbuds, even though AirPods are way better? The real reason is actually smart. Some people think it's because wired headphones look cooler, but Saibao, they look goofy as hell. So what's the real reason? First, we have to understand why AirPods were created. AirPods came out in 2016, before most of you were even born, and cost over $100. Wired headphones were annoying. The wires got tangled and snapped. They didn't fit right, and they were a pain to carry around. But fast forward to this bunzaw year, 2025, and people are still glazing wired earphones. You especially see celebrities wearing these. Even Ronaldo, the second best player in the world, wears them. But AirPods are clearly way better. Well, there are actually a few reasons, so respectfully, Saibao, and hear me out. Firstly, there's no delay. All the sounds hit instantly. On top of that, you don't have to set up Bluetooth. You just plug them in and start listening. The main issue with AirPods, and this is Division 1 rage bait, is that they always run out of battery at the worst possible moment. Something that never happens to these aura farming earphone users.
So what's going on? Well, when it comes to music emits waves, and those waves and those vibrations make the small hairs in your inner ear that are responsible for you being able to hear, makes them vibrate. And the louder the music, the louder, the bigger the waves, and the more that these little hairs vibrate inside your ears. And over time, with constant high volume, these little hairs then become worn out and finally die. And once they die, there's no way to regenerate them. So you are stuck with hearing loss. Now, that is the bad news. Does it matter whether or not you decide to wear wired headphones versus AirPods? Well, it does. And if you think about it, let's just think about it logically, because some people are saying, and especially these doctors who like to say that everything is good for you, the same doctors who said that smoking was good for you and trans fats were good for you for how many years, and Also, the fact that they thought it was okay that asbestos was something that could be used and wouldn't affect you at all. And now, do we need to even talk about how many lawsuits there are now surrounding exposure to asbestos? So, not everything that doctors say is necessarily to be taken without a grain of salt. So, AirPods, what is the problem with that? And why are more people going back to wired headphones? Now, let's go back with what Apple did before we get into all of that. And what Apple did was they were quite smart and shrewd in the way that they marketed their products. Because yes, it's a community of people, a very loyal group of people to Apple products. So in 2016, Apple decided that they were going to remove the headphone jack from all of their phones. People cried foul because then how are you supposed to listen to your headphones? You had to buy an adapter and you had to use something else in order to plug in the headphones. They were still wired. So what ended up happening was that in 2021, Apple came back with wireless headphones, also known as EarPods, and the people cheered. But they seem to forget, the customers seem to forget that they were just massively manipulated by Apple just enough to get you to buy the next thing. Kind of the same way that they build up all the hype around every new iPhone, which really isn't that much different from the version before, but that's just some people's opinion. AirPods. The problem with AirPods is that when you use AirPods, you have to turn on your Bluetooth. When you turn on your Bluetooth, that then emits a specific range of an electromagnetic field around you that goes straight through your ears, through your eardrum, and straight to your brain. Now, some people are concerned that that can lead to brain cancers. Now, doctors are saying that this is not necessarily the case, but then again, I need to bring to your attention the whole comments that doctors made about trans fat, asbestos, and smoking. Just a quick side note. Doctors used to smoke in the United States when they were examining their pregnant patients back in the 1950s and 60s. So everything that doctors say, you should not necessarily take it without doing your own research as well. So there's two things. There's radiation that's coming through the effect of using wireless headphones and also having to turn on your Bluetooth. So you are then becoming a Bluetooth conductor. And remember, the body is made up of almost 80% water. So what are you doing? You're heating up the cells in your body, and it's then being affected by a higher frequency rate that is heating up the cells in your body, which can lead to cell disruption. And there is the potential for things like the development of cancerous cells. Now, that's one thing. Let's talk about the hearing loss, because hearing loss is something that has become something that people don't really talk about very much. Now, you can do a lot of damage to your ears if you're constantly using your headphones, wired or not, but you have a greater chance of conducting a lot more damage by using EarPods than wired headphones. And that's why a lot of people are going back to wired headphones. Now, of course, people are going to say the reason why Apple switched to wireless headphones is because of this, the tangle factor. If you're always having to fight with the wires in your wired headphone, then it became very inconvenient. But that then is a cautionary tale about what is the problem with humanity right now. Convenience is killing us, whether it is using wireless earpods or it's using things that are processed for us to eat because we're rushed and we're busy and we don't have time to cook or to prepare anything. Convenience is very, very dangerous. So once you lose your hearing, it's done. It's gone. There's nothing else that can be done about it. And there's another factor too with children. If children are getting used to using earpods and also headphones throughout their school day, this is affecting a part of their brain that helps to differentiate background noise. And that is why you can have a lot of kids who are growing up without situational awareness because they are not hearing what's going on in the background. And this is all because of using things like headphones. We see it as a convenience and a new way of using technology to help forward our kids and to develop their education. But we're also potentially causing brain underdevelopment, brain tumors, and we're also causing hearing loss because of convenience and EarPods. So what can you do? One of the things that is recommended is, yes, we know it's a drag, we know it's inconvenient, but maybe going back to what is not such a bad idea. The other thing, if you don't want to use wireless headphones, is to put your phone on speaker so that you're not having to hold the phone against your head, because that's another issue with not only volume and hearing loss, but also the transmission of radiation going directly through your brain. Now, if you don't believe me and you think it's just some conspiracy theory, take a look at the About section on your phone in your settings. Scroll all the way down and look at the About your phone section and see what the fine print says. It tells you not to hold your phone close to your body. So something that is at least 2 millimeters away from your body is too close. So keeping your phone on your pillow at night, charging your phone while you're sleeping, these are all very, very detrimental. The rule of thumb for wearing EarPods is 60-60. So you're only supposed to turn up the volume 60% of the max so that you're not blasting your ears with high volume and the damage that can do. And the second part of it is the 60 is for 60 minutes. So 60% volume for 1 hour is the maximum that we're supposed to be using our EarPods for. Then take a break and use other methods of hearing your phone. So maybe it's putting it on speaker, maybe it's using wired, maybe it's using just Bluetooth speakers that don't go against your head. This is important to remember, that everything is about prevention. And in this world of convenience and fast-paced hustle, we have to remember that we need to take care of ourselves. And we can do that by being more cautious about our hearing and hearing loss and other potential cancer risks and brain underdevelopment.